Good morning. Good morning. It is October 7th, 2025. It's Tuesday. And yeah, let's jump into these charts, right? So, excuse me. So, first of all, let me get rid of this. We have now taken that out. Yeah, so from yesterday, my DCA has hit. So my short is still in play. I haven't been taken out yet, but my position moved from over here to over here now because of my DCA. Okay, and again, I am looking for it to retrace down a bit. Now, I still feel like we're in a good spot here for this short, right? And yeah, let's take a look at this. I want to look at these candles a little bit closer. Okay, let's see here. So first of all, I want to point out this little characteristic that's happening here. Notice how this wick over here, how the body of the candle that comes next surpasses the wick, and it actually closes above. So if I put this over here and I put this over here, you can obviously see that it closed above, right? These candles over here, though, if you take a look, here is a wick, and the next candle actually closed underneath that wick, right? And then here's the next wick, and notice how the next candle closed below that. Now, we've got another candle that formed here, taking out this position for anyone who took a short in this area, right? But notice this. Notice that this wick right here, still the following candle is still inside of this wick. Not only that, but if you take a look at this candle coming back to this one, notice where the body of this candle closed, right? And the next one. And this one right here closed within this wick right here. This one, right? Now we've got another wick that formed much higher. But notice how the bodies keep on closing inside of the wick. This is a characteristic that we're at a point where this might be a swing failure pattern, meaning it's trying to get above here, but it looks like it's going to reverse on the other, it looks like it's going to reverse instead of like continuing up. And usually when you see candles like this, where the body actually closes inside, it's something to be aware of, okay? Now, of course, this wick here and this wick over here, like why did they wick up so high? Right? The reason why is because they are trying to take out people who are in the zone, right? Each time. So if this candle were to break, let's just say that it breaks this yellow line here, right? And it breaks above. Well, it could wick. And then if the body does close inside of this candle, like let's say it does something like that, and this wick's way higher to knock out whoever shorted in this zone, then yeah, this might actually be the point that we reverse, right? So now, let's not over exaggerate positions here, right? What I mean is that just because we are going down doesn't mean we're going down to the bottom. There are some clear signs here that one, we are bullish, right? But two, there are areas we have to revisit. So for example, we never touched this golden pocket right here. We didn't touch it. We just passed it, okay? Also, remember I mentioned yesterday this candle over here, right? And if we were to look back at, the previous chart here, like what happened in the past, you can see that this was resistance before. Now, this came above, it never held it. It just kind of like, this was a fake out. So what I really would love to see is I'd love to see Bitcoin come back into this area over here, only because that would create some strength that we can revisit later on in the future after it breaks this zone and goes much, much higher, right? So at this point, you can see visually that we are starting to lose some volume, right? But it doesn't mean that we are not going up. It just means that we need to retrace a little bit, right? So my idea is that in this section, again, just to kind of like reiterate what I said yesterday, I am looking to get along in this section right here. In the meantime, I am going to take a swing at this short that I'm in. And again, you know, I DCA'd in and now I am in profit, and hopefully, you know, if we get back over into this zone, I can take my take profit. I think it's actually a little bit past this candle that I could take my first take profit, right? But at this point, it is feeling like we're starting to lose a little bit of volume here. And yeah, I mean, it's a good time, if any, to retrace a bit and grab some strength, you know, let people take some profit from this long move up, you know, and basically reload, right? We're talking about almost a 15% move that was made in this whole stretch right over here, right? Now, we could continue up, and again, I gave my plan for that. My plan is that if I do get stopped out in this zone here, this candle right over here, if I do get stopped out, I am going to pause my trading on on Bitcoin, because I'm not exactly sure how to play this out in this zone yet. So I need some more information, so I will be patient to figure it out, right? In the meantime, like, the best scenario for me is for it to come down over here, kind of like test this zone one more time, you know, build a little bit of strength, and then kind of like pop up from there. All right, now let's go take a look over at Ethereum real quick. So Ethereum is, you know, it's moving. I mean, this is quite a recovery, right, that we had. Now this spot right here is now taken out. Bye. Right? We took it out. It is no longer, this liquidity is gone, right? Because this is where the candle was right here, and notice that we are above it now. Now, what I would love to see is, I'd love to see it pop up right into here. That's what I'd love. Just pop up right over here, and then we can start the revisit of this golden pocket again. Right? That's what I would like. But again, I did mention before that Ethereum is a little bit more of a wild card. Honestly, I really don't know if it needs to retest. You know, it's been such a muted chart for such a long time that it can actually break through here, retrace just a little bit, and then continue on. So we might not actually get this move. I'm hoping we do. It's just right now it's a little bit uncertain, right? So I'm going to look to see what's going to happen in this spot over here before I make any plans to go forward with Ethereum. In the meantime, I am still in this long here, and I am now at my 200% profit zone, right? So I really tapped this out pretty well. I've taken profit along the way, locked in my profit. Along the way, I've taken another profit over here, and I've got one more profit over here. So I have 2x'd my money that was in here. So it was a really good trade, right? So now, so that's my plan. My plan is to kind of like hold off and see what's going on, especially on Bitcoin. Now, the reason why I feel like Bitcoin is not going to move as much, again, I'm not really sure, right? Because we're kind of in this zone of discovery at this point, is Bitcoin dominance is starting to drop. And I was looking for this to come up to the top here and then start to work its way back down. And here's another order block that it needs to come into. So the more that this chart drops down, the more that Ethereum has to run. And I'm looking for that. Not only am I looking for this to come down over here, but I'm looking for it to break even lower. And if it breaks even lower, that's when I believe we're going to start to see some real moves on altcoins and Ethereum, right? So Bitcoin dominance is starting to, it tapped this order block right over here, and it's starting to move down. And if you take a look at what Ethereum dominance is doing right now, is we are, let me get rid of this arrow here. we are now getting out of this bounce zone, right? We're now starting to work up. So what we do need to do on Ethereum dominance is we need to get above this red line here, right? And then work our way back up, right? So if we were to break this line right over here, then we're talking about a change, like not a change of character, but this is, you know, the break of structure right over here. This is a break of structure. So if we can get above here, then yeah, this is kind of Ethereum making its run. So in the meantime, Ethereum can really, like, you know, push up further into the zone. And if you take a look, Ethereum is 1.4% up. Bitcoin is 0.3% up right now. And Bitcoin doesn't really need to move very much. It really doesn't when Ethereum dominance is kicking in, right? So it feels like Ethereum is going to come up into this zone right over here. And yeah, so we'll see what happens from there. As far as like the S&P 500 goes, like we'll just take a glance over there. Like you can see even here, we're getting like this array of candles that are starting to feel like it's slowing up a bit, right? But we still are in the structure where you know, it's going, and you know, it's getting a little bit higher, you know, each time. What I do see is this. I do see that the S&P might start making this range, right? This range play. So what I would be looking for is I'd be looking for this to kind of come back into this range right over here and kind of start to form like this kind of pattern. And even if it pops up higher or pops down lower, like that doesn't matter to me. What matters is that we get like this, you know, this range starting to play out, right? Because there is a lot of liquidity that is sitting down below here that people can take a bunch of profit on from this whole zone here, right? Tap this order block and then continue whichever way it's going to go, right? So yeah, so that's what I'm looking for on here. I'm looking for it to kind of like, you know, start to create some kind of range. Honestly, I'm really not sure at this point. Again, we are kind of in this discovery zone, right? On the S&P. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I mean, my plans are pretty clear. We'll see what happens here. And, you know, hopefully we get a little bit of a pullback on Bitcoin to grab some strength so that we can continue higher. And hopefully, you know, Ethereum really kind of like gets into the top of the range here and takes out this dollar sign over here, right? So anyway, so that's the plan. Have a good day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy trading. Bye. Oh, and yeah, please feel free to like and subscribe so that we can continue making content like this and know that you are finding this useful. If you want to leave a comment, please do. Thanks so much.